Good evening, everybody. Back at it once again. This is the Merv and Stack Show featuring Marc and Tina B. How you doing tonight, Miss Lady? We'll start off with you.
Hello. I am doing okay. It is cold, but I am doing okay. How are you doing, Stacks?
I'm maintaining. I'm maintaining. I can't complain. Had a pretty busy work day, but hey, it's today. Today is Tuesday. Okay, so tomorrow Hump Day. I guess I got something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if that Merv, how you doing this morning? I mean, well, this evening.
I'm doing pretty goddamn good. Ready to talk about this goddamn movie. I brought my homie with me, Remy. So I'm gonna sip on this Remy while we talk about this movie. Feel me, nigga? How you doing,
Yeah, I
nigga?
feel you, man.
Shot, man. You need a shot, nigga.
Huh?
You need a shot.
I'm
Nigga,
doing well, man. As you can
alcoholic
see,
shot.
I got my alcohol, man. Don't worry, I'm grown. I got it. As you can see, me and Tina in character tonight, man. All black, everything. We ain't playing this. We just thought it was the right thing to do.
Merv.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Hey, but before we get into it, we're gonna have a special guest coming in later. Chris Moe. Y'all remember him when he joined us for Lovecraft Country. Um, as I mentioned on the vibes last night, uh, we going in tonight. We ain't pulling no punches. We gonna call it. We really are gonna deep dive into this movie. And before we get into that, shout out to YouTube, shout out to Facebook Live, shout out to One Mile High Radio, shout out to Blackjack TV channel 199. Shout out to all our viewers out there, and everybody who's going to come into the broadcast uh, sooner or later. Now, the good thing about this is that well, I guess if you can find anything good in this pandemic, you got to look on the bright side of stuff, right, Merv? That's what I got to start doing.
Yeah, man.
You have to you have these movies that that they still come to theaters for theaters that are open. They'll come straight to HBO Max or Amazon Prime or whatever have you. And this was a very big release. I would have gone to the movie several times to watch this movie. As I have watched it, I probably on my fifth or sixth time today. I think this was a very important movie. Judas and the Black Messiah, and it's starring Daniel Kaluuya, and you got Larkeet Stanfield. Daniel Kaluuya is playing Fred Hampton. For those of you that aren't familiar with Fred Hampton was the chairman of the I think he was the deputy chairman or the chairman, or he might have rose to the chairman of the Chicago, Illinois chapter of the Black Panthers. Lakeith Stanfield played William Wow Bill O'Neill, who ended up he was a petty car thief turned FBI informant. Now, the plot is in the late 60s, and if y'all didn't know, y'all know Bill was like 17 years old at the time. He's like Judah of the whole thing. He was 17 years old at the time when he went up in that pool hall. Did y'all know that?
Mm-hmm.
I know his
Yeah.
I didn't know his exact age, but I know he was young.
Yeah, all of them was young, and we'll get into that. It'll all come full circle by the end. But it started as him going into the bar, which he went into Crown's bar. That's an activist group from the 60s. And he was posing as I've never seen. I found it very interesting that his method of of stealing cars. Like typically, somebody goes and strong arm with a weapon or something like that. But he was posing as an FBI agent, which I found it very weird for the times. I don't really think it was many of us, you know, that were FBI agents back then. I'm not saying that none of us were, but during this car theft, he actually like gets away. I mean, it was a funny scene because he goes in there and he had me sold. He really had. Did he had you sold when he first went in there, Tina?
Yes, I was like, okay. I kind of was like, yo, he won't. So I was sold. I was sold straight up. He had everybody around the pool table. All their belongings was on the table. I was sold. Once he did step back and he like wouldn't look up at all, I didn't know what was going on, but I was like, something's not right. But I didn't know what it was. So, but he definitely caught that. He definitely caught that.
Now, Merv, what do you think about the whole the pool hall scene with Bill O'Neill?
I mean, same thing y'all said. I thought he was a cop until the hat fell off, and then he looked up, and nigga looked shook, like he didn't want them to see his face. So when he was looking shook, like he didn't want his face to be seen, that's when I was like, okay, something up. I don't know what the fuck is up, but when somebody's like, you ain't no damn cop, and nigga pull out that knife, and that motherfucker hit the fucking wheels and bounce. That was like, yeah, this motherfucker fraud.
Mo Chris is in the building, y'all. Everybody say hello to Mo Chris. He was here.
Oh no, I'm still here.
What's going on? What up, Mo Chris? What's happening?
Hey, Chris.
What's good, man? I'm sorry I'm late. I had to represent not the Texans though. I'm kind of upset right now, but
I'm about to say shit.
But this is for all of Texas right here. With the power outage, experiencing winter-like qualities that we're not accustomed to. So that's why I got this on.
I got you. Y'all staying safe down there, man, because Texas, I don't know how many years it's been since, if at all. I know it wasn't in our lifetime, but Texas is getting hit like it's the Northeast or something like that. Y'all good down there?
Yeah, we good, man. And the crazy thing is, our people understand we can't handle the snow. We can't. But what's going on, the power outage, and it's like the only explanation I could say is politics. Like Texas has been taking a lot of L's, so it's like whether it's sports, whereas commerce, whatever it is politics is the end game. So the reason why we ain't got power is because of politics, not because somebody ran into a tree or something. No, it's that's just what it is. But we making it.
I can see that. Now we're just digging in, man. We're literally talking about the part where Bill O'Neill, he's in the Crowns pool hall, and the question was asked, did he have, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're well versed on this stuff. I talked to Merv. But were you sold? I was very sold that he was an FBI agent when he walked into that bar to steal the car. This is part of his method, and we learned later when he was talking to the FBI agent.
Talking to Roy.
Roy O'Neill.
Yeah.
We was talking to FBI agent O'Neill. That was his thing. That was the way he did it. Were you sold when he first went up in there? I was.
Yeah, I was like, hold up, some ain't right, because his head was down the whole time, and he had the hat, So I was just like, hold up, he's trying to hide himself, even if he was fed or he wasn't, but it was easy to catch because his head was down the whole time, like he didn't want nobody to see him. So I'm like, all right, I know I'm not watching Training Day, so it was like that's why I was like convinced from the start, like, all right, he ain't really fed or whatever. And that hat gave it away too. It was like a Inspector Gadget hat. I'm like, what was going on?
And he sounded like a cop when he came up in that joint, and that had me kind of. I'm like, man, this dude really sound like a cop.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is the opening stages of where we get into typically when I wouldn't say all of us when we're faced with time. I think that Roy now, what was the FBI agent name? I keep forgetting his name.
It was Roy Mitchell. But you know what?
Roy Mitchell. I'm sorry.
It was Roy Mitchell, but Roy didn't approach him. Roy didn't squeeze him as like a normal squeeze. He wasn't. He played his ass. You know what I'm saying? He sold him, he closed him, and he played his ass. He started asking like fact-finding questions and shit. You know what I'm saying? When we asked how you felt when Martin Luther King died. I was all right. Well, no, you can be honest. Like it hurt a little bit. Then he was like, "Yo, how you felt when Malcolm X died?" And he was like, I never really thought about that." So he was asking questions. When we brought him in, his whole time, and from the beginning, he was thinking, "Yo, this might be somebody I could use," and that's why he started asking those questions. You know what I'm saying? When we asked about the Malcolm X, and when dude was like, "I didn't really think about that," that was his first sign, like, I might be able to get him. They start asking more questions. So the more questions he's asking, the more he's talking, it was like, this dude really don't have no loyalty like that to black people or to the movement, to the Black Panther movement, to any of the other black movements. So
Merv,
not necessarily not having loyalty though, but the fact that he doesn't care. He's not in tune.
Ain't that the same thing?
It was.
No.
To me, it was kind of like a perfect storm, Merv, simply because I think that FBI agent Mitchell was kind of intrigued by his method. Like, you can play a role. So let me go ahead and you ain't that normal petty car thief that's going to jack somebody at gunpoint. You can play a role. So I'm going to be an opportunist as a federal agent, and I'm gonna ask you some, like you said, I'm gonna ask you some fact-finding questions. So when he asked those questions, he ended up. I think I came to the conclusion that Bill O'Neill ended up being a perfect Mark, based on the fact that he played the role to try to steal a vehicle, and he wasn't sympathetic to the cause at all.
Oh no, yeah, he was the perfect person to get pulled over that night, and person to get locked, to get arrested, for them to find motherfucker to send a mole into the Black Panther camp. And then I didn't know he was 17, so by you telling me he's 17, that's also the right age to make that kind of offer to. Like you 17,
yeah, very impressionable.
You in the 17, you in 1960s, 1968 to be exact, and you don't have no money, you don't have any assets, you don't have stuff going on. That's what that's why you stealing cars. And like, all I gotta do is give you some information. I play a role, give you information, and you give me some fucking money. I can start eating steak and shit like that on the regular. That's it. At 17. So it was like the perfect person for him to there make the offer to.
And I guess it did help that he talked to him about facing that time. Now it really didn't sound right. I thought he was just bullshitting about, because he said 5 months for the theft of the car, and like 18. How many years did he say for impersonating?
It was 18 months for the stealing of the car, and it was 5 years for impersonating a federal agent. So
right.
I think he was lying, because later on in the movie, when he almost got killed, when Bill almost got killed when they stormed the Black Panther headquarters, he called Roy like, "Yo, I'm out. I almost got killed. Fuck that. Why should I not leave your ass right now?" And then you saw Roy like, because you're facing 18 months and 5 years, almost like he had to remember his goddamn lie. If it wasn't a lie, he wouldn't have to stutter. So I don't know if y'all recognize that part when he was asked that question.
I
But I
did.
think
Yeah, I saw that.
I think it was bullshit. I mean,
Yeah, I saw that. My
17 you
bad,
don't know the
Merv.
law anyway. No, you good. But 17 you don't know the damn laws. And who
I
the hell
feel
you
like
got?
the cop. I feel
Go
like the
ahead,
cop was like he was a greasy cop, but when he was trying to get O'Neal on board, but then there was like a moment where he wanted the right things. He wanted all the right things or whatever. Just a moment. But then when he got threatened later on in the movie by his own bosses, he changed. His train of thought changed. Now he didn't care about O'Neal at all.
Yeah,
If
because
that makes any sense.
they kept changing the narrative. It was like the stronger that Fred got, the more concerned they became. So they changed the narrative. So the first brainwashing of the feds was, we need to get him arrested. We need to get him off the streets. He got arrested, came back on the streets, started getting stronger. Then it was like, we gotta get him off the streets. That's temporary. Now it's like, yo, now we need to look for a permanent solution.
and that was the wave. Uh, Unfortunately for the federal government during those times, during the civil rights era, and when during the black struggle, uh, our leaders. I mean, it seemed like it was out of the FBI playbook. Demonize our leaders, Malcolm X, MLK, even Huey Newton. Every single one of them were surveillance or had informants planted in there by the FBI, because at that time, the Black Panthers and anybody that was involved in any type of black progress was deemed the greatest national security threat to the nation. Ironically, today, um, shockingly and ironically today, do you know who holds that title as the greatest national security threat?
Um,
Trump.
the,
Asada? It's like, I don't know.
White supremacists, white nationalists, and white supremacists. It's shocking, but yeah, that's actually true, and I found it quite shocking because the '60s, it's people need to realize it really wasn't that long ago. You know what I'm saying? That's like what 50
yeah,
50 years ago.
yeah, it really
So
wasn't that long
a,
ago.
a lot has changed
Yeah,
since then. I mean, a lot of stuff, of course, does still need to change. But yeah, back then, I mean, y'all heard J. Edgar Hoover talking at the beginning. They had the picture of Fred Hammond up there. They had a picture of the chair. I like calling him the chairman. They had him picture up, and they said that he was literally like, I'd say what we called Osama bin Laden back during the War on Terror. That's how the federal government viewed uh Fred Hampton.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they kept that in the story, especially in the beginning when they saw J. Edgar Hoover lecturing to his, I guess, FBI agents or something, and
Yes.
he said that we're trying to stop the rise of a black messiah. So I'm glad that they kept that in the movie because the writers, because usually they don't tell the truth like that, But and going back to what you were saying, man, about the '60s, it wasn't that long ago, and what their fear at that time was that when you had Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you had Arab, all these people that were influential in the '60s. They really didn't want anybody to in their retrospect to take over the government, right? We don't even think like that, right? But not to just to go piggyback of what you was talking about.
Gotcha.
So Fred Hampton, man, from watching this, Fred Hampton was very influential, and the brother spoke well. Like one part of the movie when I think it was after he got the Rainbow Coalition, Bill O'Neill met with Roy, the Fed. It was like, yo, Fred could sell salt to a slug. And throughout the movie, man, he got a lot of good quotables, man. Like when he was teaching, he was asking, "What's your definition of war? Like, what's your definition of politics?" And he's got war is politics with bloodshed. Politics is war without bloodshed.
Facts.
Yo, that was a strong ass statement right there. Stacks, you want to speak?
I've never heard that before, but it made me it kind of took me back because it absolutely is, and it made me think. I'm glad you talked about the Rainbow Coalition because a man that they considered this dangerous, as Officer Mitchell was trying to compare Fred Hampton and the Panthers to the Ku Klux Klan. Couldn't have been talk about a false equivalency. And the reason I say that is because Fred went to the to who they call, I guess, the rednecks, I guess the poor impoverished white folks, they call them the true patriots or whatever, right? The true patriots and the
yeah. No, I was just gonna tell you the name of it.
Yeah,
Young
you're right.
Patriots are true. So and the other group, was it the Hispanic group, the Young Lords?
Young Lords.
The Lords.
Yeah, the Lords and the Patriots. Yeah. And
So
and Stacks, even then, since he brought the coalition about that meeting, even when he went there, you know what I'm saying, his comrades was like, this is the same people that hit Martin Luther King in the head with a brick. I don't feel comfortable going in there with no guns. But he, man, so when he walked in there and he started going back and forth, man, he was able to just silence and calm a crowd and get them on the same page. And when it was like when the guy jumped up and said, "I grew up poor," and then one of Fred comrades was like, "Yeah, overseer," and then,
AKA the overseer. Yep.
And then Fred was like, "Now what if the slaves and the overseer had band together to cut the master's throat?" And after he said that, he started walking and speaking to everybody, and he got everybody's attention. And from that point on, he got everybody on board.
Well, Merv, with that being said, I'm glad
he used an Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I might be long-winded. He used what? What did you say, Tina B?
I was just gonna say he used the example of if the building was to catch on fire right now, everybody's focus would just be for water and to find an exit. So that's what he used to bring everybody to common ground. Like, it's no color. You're not going to see black, white, or this, then the third. You're going to see everybody wanting water and finding an exit.
Right.
And that's actually a great segue to what I was going to say, because at the end of the day, it kind of made me see that, I mean, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, I mean, we all aren't that different. We all have similar needs. You got the lower class, you got the middle class, and you got the super rich. And when that analogy, as far as, you know, if the slave got with the overseer and cut the master's head off, I think that the only people that benefit from the division that we got going on in America right now, that really benefit, if you can look past color and all our differences, the only people that benefit is the super rich, the politicians, and the media. That's just my opinion. So if everybody could just band together and look past those things, I I think that this country and the world overall would be a much better place because I mean the media in particular is profiting off of division, and these politicians are to me are just a joke on both sides. You know, no pun intended, by the way. But
I'll never understand it. I'll never understand. You see how easy it is for us to say if everybody just come together. You see how easy it is for us to say if black people would just stick together. Like why? And it's like we know we have the information. We know the information. We know that if we do this, that, and the third, things will be in our favor if we just pull together. And we still don't do it. It's like we got the answer right in our hands, but we still like, oh, you light skin, oh, you dark skin, oh, you this, oh, you that, oh, I'm not sharing my money, or I'm not going to help the next person come up. Like it's like we know the answer, but are still against each other. We want this answer, we want the right thing, we want black people to be on top where we were. You know what I'm saying? But we can't get it together. And the answer's right there. We could talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, and we still won't budge. And that shit doesn't make any sense to me. And it be our own that be selling us out.
Right.
well, you're absolutely right, and that started off with Bill O'Neill, and they also have an informant. What was his name?
Sam Jacobs, I think. George Sam.
I don't know his last name though.
Yeah, I forgot his last name, but I know
that's
you.
his last
I'm gonna
name.
let you say it, 'cause I think
George
I know who
Sams.
you're
It is
doing.
George. It is George Sams. You got George Sams, and you got the janitor. God, I don't know. I hated the janitor much more than I hated George Sams, man. That just, and we're going to be all over the place. We're not going in order or anything like that. But now that we're on the topic of backstabbing each other, that janitor, the guy that oh man, I forgot the guy's name, but he went to go check on his he wanted some information
I
on
think it was
why
Jimmy
his
Butler. I think his name was
Jimmy what?
Butler. Jimmy Butler, wasn't he the one that knocked on the janitor's door?
Yes. So he saw him in the hospital, and it's almost like, yeah, man, keep your head up in this that and the third. But when he came to him for some information, he immediately said, "Man, I'm not giving you no information. You know how treacherous the white folks is down there." He was worried about himself and his money. Whereas in sharp contrast, all the Panthers, Fred Hampton in particular, like he always said, I'm ready to die a revolutionary death. It wasn't about him, it was about the people. That guy, that janitor was a crab, and I was so mad when he saw that weapon because Jimmy she wasn't gonna shoot that man. But he got in the house and he immediately called the police. I was hot, and he got a gun, a big one. We got people out there every day that's like that. That's just like that. They are willing. I mean, yeah, it's disrespectful. You leave me alone before you end up like your boy. I'm like, wow. And the guy was never ever a threat to him, but he called the police. And we all know nowadays what you don't want to. I don't care. If somebody's breaking in my house, I'm probably gonna take care of it myself. But I think we've been conditioned, especially within the last 10 to 20 years, that we try to handle stuff without calling the police. That's just what it is, because we know how a lot of those interactions have turned out for us over the last decade or so. Anybody want to speak on that?
Yeah, I want to speak on that real quick. When we was talking about the janitor, that was a very important character for the movie, is because of what he represents. He represents that the Negro that wants to get along to stay along. He represents that a lot of the, but a lot of our older generation, I
House
remember
Negro.
Tupac said, yeah, the house nigga. I remember Tupac said, you know, once a man turned about what 30, 35, he loses his warrior spirit. And when we talking about Fred Hampton and we talk about Bill O'Neill and how young these guys were and at the youth and how they use the youth to really make a difference. Whereas we got certain people, they not young anymore, and but they rather just get down and lay down, or like you said, just oh, you ain't gonna mess up my money or whatever. And where he lived wasn't like he had a big house or anything. I think it was a
Right.
trailer. Wasn't
A little,
it? It was
a
something like
little single wide.
It was a
yeah, like a
it
little
was a
single
trailer.
wide.
He lived in what we
But
would call a camper nowadays.
hey man, them security guards, them janitors, them tell you anybody with keys. Anybody with keys, man, don't mess with them. They're the most dangerous person in the building. Anybody with keys, boy, they're going to take their job seriously. Well, just pay attention to that. I'm just making a joke, but yeah.
So, hey, all right, but now, so while we're on the janitor, that janitor represent even shit that's going on today. Um, you have a lot of black people in a position where they feel threatened every day that they have to play by a certain rule or they have to be a certain way. They either keep their job and they're not going to ruffle any feathers. Um, I mean, like in sports, you have certain. There's a reason why in sports, certain black people of influence or power, supposedly power, won't say shit because they don't want to fuck up their money. Or if they're a coach, they're not gonna say too much because they don't want to get fired. And it's just one of those mental tools that's been in place against black people since slavery days, and it's just been passed down to generation to generation.
It happens in politics as well, Merv.
Guess
And I'm
what?
not just talking about. Go ahead, Tina.
I'm a troublemaker. When it comes to my job, I'm a troublemaker. I'm labeled a troublemaker, and that's because I'm not afraid. I speak up when I see something is wrong. I speak up, and that makes me like, oh, you're a good worker, but you're outspoken. And I've always been considered outspoken since I was in elementary school. Like, oh, she's great, but she's outspoken, and they made it seem like it was a bad thing. And I'm still that way. I cannot sit back at my job and see something go wrong and me just be quiet. I can't. I can't. And I learned that even more when I became a supervisor. It was like, oh, we got to make the client happy, whatever the client wants. But what about, because I do security. And I'm like, I'm the supervisor. What about my guards? What about what we going through? What about COVID hit? We were the last people to get masks throughout the entire hospital. They didn't care about security. You speak up, it's like, oh, you're doing too much. And I'm not afraid to speak up. But guess what happens when you do speak up? You start getting written up. You start getting looked at. You're not under the radar anymore. They want to eventually fire you because you're considered a troublemaker. And I've always had that issue. But no matter what happens, I feel like if you fire me, you're still going to think about what I said. I planted a seed and you're going to make a change for the people after me. And people have called me and updated me like, oh, you know, other jobs that I don't work at anymore. Oh, they changed this, they changed that. Damn, when I was there, they didn't do that, but I know I spoke on it. So, you know, it worked out. It sucks that I probably had to lose my job behind it, but to find out that they did listen, they did change after the fact. I mean, it's something. But you
Well,
gotta be. Some people don't want to make that sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? People got everyday living. They like, oh, my bills, my kids. I can't afford to do no shit like that. And then they trapped into dealing with it, putting up with shit that they don't want to do.
Yeah, and just to play devil's advocate, I mean, we know that they're quicker to black people are quicker to get disciplined or fired than others.
Well, I had a similar situation, Tina, when I was managing temporary employees at a plant. The company, uh, the the employees were employed without agency, but working, at the plant. That's temp agency stuff. So we managed the temps, and I was the man as their manager. I was the voice for those temporary employees, and me and a couple of my coworkers who worked there, uh, we rocked the boat because our employees were more important to us than that company and their unethical practices and their unfair treatment to our employees. Uh, Unfortunately, we were there. We affected some good change there, but eventually, all of us ended up having to leave to go find other jobs. Actually, I found another job within the company because the relationship with me, my coworkers, and that company became very toxic because we always provided a whole lot of pushback. Almost to the point that I think they wanted to stop dealing with our agency. But I wasn't going to bend. I wasn't going to break because I wanted to. I stand on principles. Uh, I can't be bought, and I'm not one of them ones that's going to get along just to get along, or whatever that phrase is. Uh, if someone's in my care that I'm in charge of, I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to, I'm not going to back them if they're totally wrong, but I'm not going to just let you do them any. And these are low wage employees and stuff like that. So you're just not going to throw them in the trash and do them dirty, not on my watch. And a lot of people don't have the intestinal fortitude to do that. Because I was in a position because I got labeled the whole angry black man because I ask questions. I'm stern. I'm kind of a big dude. So I mean, one of the dudes told me you need to calm down, Heist, and I was like, what are you talking about? I'm calm. I'm not even talking loud or anything. But I mean, y'all know what it is, especially as brothers. Anytime you ask
Yeah.
a question, you can be asking in a voice like this. But they say you to calm down. Like, what are you talking about? I'm calm. Like, Merv, you know how that goes. Like,
Mhm.
I'm calm. I'm actually smiling. You just don't think that I should be questioning you. That's
Right.
what it really is.
So let's
And I know we all over the place, but this is good dialogue. Go ahead, Merv.
so I want to pivot a little bit. So I know the movie is based off true events, right? So the movie's already written, but man, I'm watching this part. So when Fred go meet the crown leader and shit, right? And this motherfucker's
Mhm.
looking at Bill like, I think that's the motherfucker that motherfucker that robbed me? You look and the Bill trying to hide his face and shit. And motherfuckers say, "Oh, you trade your badge in," and then got slapped. Um, the Armin, the lady with the afro, when she heard that badge, she looked at that nigga the whole time.
Was that
And
Judy? Her name Judy?
yeah. But they call her Captain Armin.
Yo, I fucks
Dude,
with her.
hey, I fucking
Man,
a long way. I fucking a
the
long way.
long way.
So
Yo.
so they're in the car. She hops on the car like, yo, you got your gun? Like, yeah, it's in the glove compartment. She bought the damn gun. Make sure it's loaded. Make sure it's loaded. Dude jump in the back, and when she pulled that shit on him, I'm like, yo, please find this motherfucker out. And I already know he's not, but I'm like, yo, she the only motherfucker that like caught a whip.
That peep that, yeah.
Caught a whip that okay, something ain't right with this motherfucker.
What was that about a badge?
Yeah.
But I don't know, I don't know if this nigga is lucky or if they put that in a movie that add drama to it. But that nigga got out every fucking lie in that scene, and he was like, "Well, okay, what now? I hotwire the car." And when the motherfucker was like, "Well, do it now," I'm like, "Oh, they got him." And I know he's gonna get out, but I'm like, "Oh, they got this motherfucker." And when they show this motherfucker get this motherfucking car started. Man, you talking about nigga that was shitting? I was so motherfucking shitting. They was able to hotwire that motherfucking car.
Hey Merv, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you, Chris. Merv and Tina. As fucked up as Bill was, I thought he was very quick on his feet throughout the movie. He played, dude. That's the type of informant, as fucked up as he was, because I mean, even to the point where they found out about George Sams.
Yeah,
like he was really playing that role. Like, we got a fucking rat, and motherfucking you the rat. What are you talking about? So Merv, on that scene, Merv, when I first saw the movie, I was thinking to myself, I don't know how the fuck he gonna get out of this. Because when she said, Krongbrad, take my knife out of my boot, please.
And give him this tool.
I'm like, oh, this because they had some valid questions like, you steal car. Like, notice he mentioned, okay, I'm gonna tell y'all, I used to pose as an FBI agent, and they're like, oh, you used to pose as an FBI agent to steal cars, and they were absolutely right when they say that shit don't even sound right. But he wasn't lying.
But it was true.
He wasn't. Yeah, it was absolutely true.
And he said,
and that's why he said y'all can believe.
Going back to what y'all said, her name was Judy, the female that was checking Bill or whatever. Yo, she reminded me of the chick in Dead Presidents. And even
me too. Yep, that's exactly what you remind me of.
And don't get me wrong, this movie Black Messiah was live, but how live would it have been if they would have directed it the way they directed Dead Presidents? Especially with Judy acting wild like that, man, crazy.
She was a writer, man, because
the females, the females always.
She was the one who literally, I mean, because like I say, y'all, we're gonna be all over the place with this, but when the Chicago PD was egging them on at headquarters, she was almost like, you know what, fuck that. He talking a little bit. She the one who set it off. She's literally the one who set that shit off.
But that motherfucking Bill did something else suspect. But the scene was so hot, she couldn't really pay that shit no attention. He was like, yeah, I'm leaving. Like, where the fuck you going at? Like, I'm going to the roof. They're going to call back up and shit like that. It's like, man, so many times this nigga was suspect.
I thought he was leaving. Was he leaving if somebody wasn't there? Because he went downstairs.
He tried to leave, and nobody came up.
But somebody...
Like, oh, hey, I just came I'm going to the roof.
Because I'm like, if you going upstairs, why you passing the damn stairwell?
Exactly. And then motherfuckers went to shoot. They're talking about it's a sniper. And they shot at his ass. But then Judy took that shit as, oh, these motherfuckers shooting at me. And she started letting the fuck off. But first, she made sure Fred's wife and child got out there safe.
Yeah. That but he and the thing is, he escaped. Bill escaped once again, and he kind of, I wouldn't say he looked like a hero, but he looked like he was fighting along with them. But he absolutely didn't. Because didn't he go out back and take his hat off?
Yeah, took his hat off. Mm-hmm.
He was battling his own demons. He was learning about the Black Panther Party all while snitching on the Black Panther Party. And then it was like, damn, I want to be free. And I probably want to be a part of this movement, but I got to do what the cops say. He was definitely battling with his own demons, because that shit was messing him up.
It was like being in love with two women. Because what? What? I'm saying, yo, that nigga really didn't know which one is true.
It's just, I was waiting for that shit, bro.
Listen, real shit. He was a snitch, and I hated him throughout the fucking movie. But you can see he had a lot of moments where, like, these motherfuckers is not anything like what Roy and FBI was telling me. and you can see him on some scenes, and niggas fall in love with the cars. But when it comes down to it, it's like I'm gonna save my ass first to make sure
And Merv,
and make sure I don't go to jail.
and Merv, that's what it really was because
I personally didn't hate him. I felt sorry for him. I felt really bad for him. I didn't hate him. I felt bad for him.
Let me ask you this: When did you start feeling bad? Was it the second half of the movie?
I felt bad for him when he was in the room, being interrogated.
For real?
I saw his weakness.
In the beginning?
I saw the weakness.
Nah, fuck that.
Hey, Merv, you be predicting shit sometimes. Sometimes I could see certain shit too. I'm not perfect at predictions, but I saw his weakness. I saw that as soon as that cop said you could do this, do that, you could do this time, you could do this, or you could be free. You could go home. And he looked the look on his face when he heard go home, like, don't be rolling your eyes. I felt bad.
Oh, my bad. No, I was looking up. But
the only reason
I
didn't
hate him. What he did, don't get me wrong, what he did was fucked up, but I felt bad for him. And trust to believe, there's a lot of people whose backs are against the walls like that in certain situations. Like, it's either you ready to die or you not. It's either you ready to do time or you not. And sometimes you gotta have empathy. Put yourself in the shoes. You gonna be ready to die? You gonna ready to do that time? Which one?
Well, first of all, I ain't stealing no motherfucking car. All right, that's one. Now, second, this is why
that's not what I said.
You said put myself in their shoes.
Empathy means what? Put yourself in that person's shoes. What would you do? So I don't want to hear I wouldn't steal no car. Okay, I know you wouldn't steal no car. Hopefully, you would not steal no car.
Well, that's me putting myself in their shoes.
What would you do if your back was against the wall? You was offered jail time, snitch. Which one? Snitch or jail time? Death or snitch?
So here's my thing, right? So here's my thing, and this I've always felt this way. Hey, I've never been arrested. I'm clean. I'm not from the streets at all. But my thing is, when you decide to be in the streets, or you decide to do a life of crime, you decide when you make that conscious fucking decision, you already know that shit comes with repercussions. It comes with consequences. It comes with shit. All right. So if you're gonna if you're gonna make that conscious effort, oh yeah, there you go. Well, if you make that conscious effort to commit a crime, hey, motherfucker, go ahead, do what's coming, accept what comes with it.
Yeah, I don't think I was gonna say reason why I don't feel bad for him, because after a while when you feel like you getting played and it's like, hold on, I'm getting played. But then when you start justifying the things you do to like it's somewhat right, when you think about it, it's like, oh, I got this intel, what they had it coming for them. Well, it's really not my fault, it's their fault. Like, you start justifying your reasoning to betray something, then that means you're guilty. When I mean guilty, that means what you're doing is wrong. So then the innocence become out the question. But that's all I wanted to say real quick.
But don't forget, when he wanted out, when he was like, when he realized he really see that these people are fighting for a good cause and he wanted out, he got blackmailed. And then he was like, the cop was like, I'll tell on you. Meaning I'm ending your life, because if they find out you a snitch, you dead. Period.
Yeah. He in too deep at that time. Like,
that's actually perfect, because you've seen movies, and this happens in real life. Anybody that's undercover or an informant, they usually sympathize, with their captor, so to speak, or the crew they rolling. We saw it in Too Deep. I wasn't too happy about Bill O'Neill's behavior, but I'm gonna take his age into consideration and all that stuff. I don't feel bad for him, but I can understand why he made the choices he made. I do think, however, that he was on the fence. That he absolutely was on the fence. Like, it wasn't an act the entire time. I think there were moments where we clearly see he was playing a role because we gave him credit for that. But you remember at the very end when he thought he had did his job and he found out that the end game isn't for him to go back to jail. That's too easy. Like you said, Merv, J. Edgar Hoover had decided, man, Huey Newton became a celebrity in jail. And he said that there was somebody else that became a best-selling author.
Alfred became a best-selling author.
And he said jail is a temporary fix. He was so shaken. I knew that was the reason. I'm gonna give Bill a little bit credit because he was so shaken when he found out that the federal government plan was to assassinate him. And he really didn't have a choice because it was kind of assist them or go to jail. Because if he had told them, here's what's going to happen, I think they still would have killed him. Even if he had like flipped totally and said, "Look, I don't give a damn what they do to me. I'm gonna just tell y'all what the deal is." But the cover was
Stacks. I thought he was gonna do that. I thought he was gonna do that when he was standing over Fred when he was with his baby mother.
He started.
I thought he was gonna say
he had the drugs.
I was gonna commend him for that shit too. I thought he was gonna say, "Yo, I've been working with the feds. They coming for you, and I'm ready for my life to end. Just take me, but I'm just giving you a heads up." Like, that shit would have been dope, but he didn't do that shit.
It would have been, unfortunately. But the thing is, once again, he was lucky and he was a little savvy because the look on his face, he was showing that he was truly shaken, but it looked like he was so close to Fred Hampton that it looked like he was just, upset and shaken that he had made the decision. Instead of running and go to Algeria or go to Cuba, he was making the decision to go back to prison. So it kind of worked in his favor. He was really shaking that, man, I'm really about to assist these guys with killing you, and I can't tell you because that means I'm fucked. But I thought the way he was visibly shaking, it served as a cover because everybody was probably thinking, because he had made a name for himself as a security captain in the Panthers. They thought he was legit the entire time. The only time that there was a slip up was when they was in that car. They thought he was the guy. And the matter of fact, you gotta give him credit
they
for help.
They thought he was legit when he did that thing at the pool hall with the
absolutely, and not only that,
he know that shit. So he saw them coming in the mirrors.
Well, not only that, he was in charge in rebuilding headquarters when the police blew it up, and he got all the credit after Fred Hampton came home. Remember that?
Yeah, and then wasn't that the part? Was that? But remember he was in headquarters, right? And he started blaming somebody else as being a snitch. Was that before the bombing or after the bombing?
After.
Okay, because after the bombing, he started really like, yo, let me put this drywall up and really sell it. Yeah. Because if I do, the more and more I do, the more and more they can't believe that I'm the snitch. So that's when the acting game went 100 on that part, because now I'm gonna play this role all the way out. So,
man, let me tell y'all that what the fuck is Bill, what's the actor name again? Stacks, you said it earlier.
Lakeith Stanfield.
Lakeith Stanfield, yeah.
Lakeith Stanfield, yeah.
Okay, so him playing as an informant, as a snitch, that shit. He played the hell at that part as a snitch, and then just the actor who played fucking Wild Bill, yo, he killed this fucking role. Because when I watch this movie, I didn't see that. I really feel like I'm watching fucking Wild Bill. I'm watching the snitch and shit. Like he played the fuck out this role. And also, did y'all know he had to get therapy after this movie?
Who, Lakeith?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had after this movie, this nigga had to get therapy. He was like, yo,
Damn.
playing.
I feel like he always play a scare. He always play the roles he's
He has.
always given. He's always in some type of shook position. When he was in
the Bruce
damn,
Man
what's
and
Get Out.
that movie?
Get Out.
Get Out.
Get Out. He was
You talking about Dan?
played
You talking
those
about Dan?
roles
You talking about the main character Daniel
No, Lakeith
Kaluuya.
Stanfield was in Get Out too.
He was in Get Out. He was
in Get Out.
You're right. My bad. You're right.
He also played in a mute philosopher in Atlanta, and he also played a telemarketer.
the photographer.
Yeah, he played that well. That's probably his most normal goddamn role, was the photographer.
Mm-hmm.
But all those movies, he was fine. But after playing this movie and have to be in character, he had to go and get therapy. When the movie got delayed, he had to get therapy by the time the movie was released. So because the acting that the part he had to play in it kind of fucked him up a little bit. Because a lot of actors, when they play a part, they study that part and they get all the way involved in that part. And like, yo, they said shit fucked him up. He had to get therapy.
That's very true. A lot of actors that play all actors for the most part, they play their role of this and the third. When it's an intense role like that, even if y'all remember the movie Boys in the Hood, of course everybody knows that movie. But the guy who was the shooter that killed Ricky, once you play roles like that and you study it so much, you become that person. Some people can't shake it and they actually become that person, especially when you're given multiple roles over and over, playing the bad guy or something of that nature. You become that person and you actually start probably being a murderer. The dude from Boys in the Hood that killed Ricky became a murderer. He got he went to prison for a double homicide and he ended up dying in prison.
Damn.
And he was never that person. He was also the bad person on Poetic Justice, who helped kill Q-Tip in the car with Janet
It's a damn
Jackson.
good example,
So
Sean.
It's very manipulative when you play these roles and you actually become these characters in real life. It fucks with your head.
He also said the part where he had the poison on Fred, the part that we were just talking about when we standing over him and he's trembling and shit. He was like, that was one of the hardest scenes. Because by that part, that's nothing at the end of the shit. He's like fully in character. He went through the whole movie. He was like, that scene took so much energy and emotion and everything from, like, he was drained from doing that scene.
Yeah.
That's how much it got to him.
Yeah, Lakeith
and imagine
Stanfield.
how many times he probably had to do that take.
Yeah, he said. He also said it was a lot of. They took out a lot of tape because first it was him mixing the poison in Kool-Aid and handing it to him. Like they did different takes and a lot of takes. We didn't even see a lot of takes. So yeah, you're right, Tina. He had to do that shit several times. So that's the reason why he had to get therapy afterwards. He also said that him and the actor that played Fred are actually really good friends from the other movies they played in. So that's another part was like he actually feel like he was betraying his friend also. So it's like a whole bunch of shit that was going through him mentally, emotionally playing his goddamn role, especially with his friend playing the person that he's snitching on and betraying and helping kill.
Well, Merv, you know what's ironic about that, and I'm pretty sure y'all saw at the end of the movie that the real Bill O'Neill ended up committing suicide. Uh, and
1990 when that shit was played.
and believe it or not, I mean, Bill O'Reilly, for all intents and purposes, was playing a role when he was informant. When he was an informant for the FBI when he infiltrated the Black Panther Party. So it applies definitely to real life. I wanted to put a comment back up and go ahead and segue. Sean put a comment up that said Hoover was pure evil, and I think we all can agree with that. But here's what I want to talk about next. Federal government's relentless attempt to uphold the white supremacy power structure versus then and now. I want to talk about the movie first, and we're going to talk about the federal government, and we're going to talk about law enforcement. Now, I'm going to give this disclaimer. I don't have no issue with law enforcement or the federal government, but like I said yesterday, these are going to be these uncomfortable conversations that I think we need to have to give this some just to give everything, put everything in its proper perspective. But it started at the beginning of the movie where, like I said earlier, Fred Hampton was considered public enemy number one, according to J. Edgar Hoover, who was the director of the FBI at the time. And as you can see throughout the movie, they were willing to go through all lengths possible to stop this man. And they are trying to stop a man who is for the people and of the people. And it really didn't matter what people. He was just for the uplifting of oppressed people, whether you were white, black, Hispanic, Indian, whatever. But they stopped. I mean, you have several instances of police misconduct, law enforcement misconduct that we can go through in this movie, and I wanted to deep dive into that real quick because to me, I want to talk about one incident in particular where the FBI, I think FBI agent Mitchell was talking directly to J. Edgar Hoover, when he asked him about his daughter, asked him about his family, and he asked him, "What are you going to out the blue?" He asked him, "What are you going to do when your daughter brings a Negro home?" And FBI agent Mitchell's kind of like, he's kind of like taken aback, like, I don't, like, what do you mean by this? And he goes off and says, this is like our battle. This is our I forgot exactly as he put it, but he said something about our way of life. And
so
here's what
when he brought that up, so the scene that you talked about when he asked him about the child bringing home a Negro, how he sold him, he brought it when he said you was in the war, you was in the military, you was overseas, and you had to kill people. You didn't kill the people because the United States told you to kill the people. You kill those people because you need to get home, get back home.
That's how it is when you're in the military too. Yep.
By any means necessary. So right now, if you want to protect your family and get back to your family by any means necessary, this is what we need to do. And getting rid of Fred Hampton is the start of it to prevent your daughter bringing home a Negro, to prevent any kind of equality, any kind of uprising, or even there being a chance for your daughter to even date or be around a Negro.
First of all, them fools is dumb, because no matter how many black leaders you try to kill, it's always going to be another one and another one and another one and another one. So stop fucking trying, because every time you eliminate one, it's still going to be another one. Like, that's where they ignorant at. They definitely ignorant when it comes to that shit.
So I got a question. Between Malcolm, Martin, and I don't want y'all to elaborate. I just want y'all to pick one of three choices between Malcolm, Martin and Fred, especially after we watch the movie and we see some more details. Out of those three, which one y'all feel that? Which one do y'all think the government should have feared the most out of those three?
Martin.
Malcolm X.
All right.
I'm gonna say Fred.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask a similar question. I just want to see if it changed. The question is very similar. Out of those three, who do y'all think, if they lived the rest of their life, would have had the most influence or the most power within the black community between those three? Do your answers change or is the same?
Mine's the same.
The same.
And
hold on, no, don't elaborate. Chris.
That's a hard one because I guess I'll have to keep the same, but all three guys, if they were still living, would have did something.
Yeah,
and they all would have been different.
I'll say the most. So
the most influential.
Chris, so your answer stay the same, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay the same.
I think Martin, because shit, his fucking dream happened. The fuck? And that shit's still going on today. Even though we still experiencing racism, what Martin said has happened. Like, I wouldn't pick Malcolm, even though Malcolm was great. He got into his feelings, bruh. Okay. He got into his feelings. He got personal. He started beefing with his own people, and then he just started exposing dirty laundry, which had nothing to do with the movement.
So you was Martin, Chris. You was Malcolm, right?
Yeah, I'm with Malcolm.
All right, elaborate on why you put Malcolm.
Well, the government was going to kill Malcolm anyway. Absolutely. It was just that the Nation of Islam probably beat him to it. That's just how I look at it without knowing. Allegedly, I'm saying allegedly.
Yeah, we got you.
Oh,
but elaborate on why you picked Malcolm.
Well, the reason why I picked Malcolm because his influence was right. He had the Nation of Islam, and you guys said the Nation of Islam, unlike the Black Panthers. Don't get me wrong, I respect both Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam and the Marcus Garvey all the same because all three movements provided food, water, medicine, shelter, all that, right? So with Malcolm, once he left the Nation of Islam, he was going to gain more popularity to gaining people that wasn't in the nation. You see what I'm saying? Mainly like Christians, and like, you know how Farrakhan can cross over. He can go to talk to a Baptist church like it ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? He can cross over. Malcolm could cross over, and he can do the same things that Fred was doing at young. Malcolm could do.
Okay. Stacks, go ahead. You gotta pick Fred, right?
I mean, do we have a Malcolm X holiday? I know that sounds petty as hell, but do we have a Malcolm X holiday?
Yeah, but
do we have a Fred holiday? Like, no. I just feel like Martin would have crossed over more. Like,
all right, go ahead. Stats, go ahead.
I mean, technically, it's facts.
I chose Fred because from the very start, the Panthers is to me is what separates them from the Nation of Islam and your everyday run of the mill. I'm not calling Martin Luther King your everyday run of the mill civil rights leader. Is that I think it was all about equality from the very start. And the Black Panthers, I've always been disappointed with the false equivalency as far as the Black Panthers to the Klan, mainly because Fred Hampton was embraced all people who were oppressed, because he have a belief that everybody should have today, and that we are all in one way, shape, or form, we all are the same and we have the same needs. But the powers that be, super rich, the politicians, and all, they're the ones who's benefiting off this division. And it was mighty funny to me that the Patriots, the Young Patriots, or whatever you call them, they were your white, what you would equate to the trailer park trash today. But they knew they were being oppressed. But I think it was I forgot who said it. What white politician that said it, and he kind of changed the narrative. And this is where you have people, you have poor white people that left the ideals of the Young Patriots when they made that statement. You can make the poorest white man feel like he's better than the richest black man, and he won't even know that you're picking his pocket. And I say that to say this. That Rainbow Coalition thing, I think that's what's separate. Now Malcolm, he later on, he started, embracing, all other groups. But Fred Hampton was just for the people. He didn't care if you was getting oppressed or whatever. So I think that had he not been killed, that Rainbow Coalition would have just grown, and we wouldn't be as divided as we are right now. Because Fred Hampton, if you look at what he would be like, he was born in 1948, so he would still be, in his 70s right now. Okay. That's how I feel about that, man. I just feel like he was more of a uniter.
So, as I'm giving my take,
like Martin.
Real quick, one more thing, Merv. One more thing, though, Merv. He was a uniter, a direct action uniter versus Martin and his non-violent. I'm sorry, man. Ain't nobody really paying attention to you unless you got a gun, man. It's just that simple. I'm sorry.
You also die early when you got a gun and you don't make it that far. That's far. The only. Your shit is early. It gotta be a way to your madness. It gotta be a way to your madness. I'm not knocking them. No doubt.
You gotta speak the oppressor's language.
I get that shit.
Right, you gotta teach the oppressor's language.
You gotta be ready to die too. But when you move like that, you ain't gonna live long. Just know that. You gotta be ready to die.
Tina does have a point. There's a balance. Both have points, but there's a balance, right? So my answer changed with both questions. All right. As far as like everybody's lifespan, I won't pick Martin. Martin was 39 years old when he died. Malcolm X was 39 when he died. Fred was 21 when he died. So out of all the three, Martin had the most influence and had the most accomplishments as far as like bringing awareness out the three. Now, Martin was national. Martin was national. Martin got the president's attention. All right, and he led marches all the way up to DC and all over. So based off the lifespan, I'll say Martin. But if everybody lived to be older, I gotta go with Fred. And this is why.
I agree.
Malcolm Martin was 39, Fred 21. But one difference that I saw with Fred from Malcolm and Martin, you're right, Stacks. Fred was united.
Facts.
But Fred would have been more influential, more dangerous than Malcolm and Martin, because Fred had the ability. It's almost like you take the best of Malcolm, you take the best of fucking Martin, and combine them, you get fucking Fred Hampton. Because Fred was Fred was able to go.
You the fucking man tonight for that one.
Fred was able to go and talk to the fucking gangs, the gang leaders in Chicago, and was able to start a movement, getting all the gangs together. All right, so that's the streets. Now, on top of that, this motherfucker was able to go and talk to a white group, a fucking white group that sport the Confederate flag, and got their ass on board. Then on top of that, this motherfucker was able to go talk to a motherfucking Spanish group, and got them on board. Now, could you fucking imagine this? There's a reason why at 19, 20 years old, you got the FBI scared of you. At 19, 20 years old, you have the fucking FBI so scared of you that they are planting informants. Okay, from my knowledge, Chris is more of a historian than me. Martin and Malcolm didn't get that kind of pressure at 19 and 20 years old of having the FBI and the government. Huh?
Real quick, Chris, before you go, and Merv, I'm glad you said that as far as the age. And I think Rebecca might have mentioned it earlier. I'm gonna put her comment back up here real quick. He had to go for this reason right here, man. The FBI was not. Fred was 21 at 21. Matter of fact, he died at 21, so he was spitting all this stuff when he's exactly 17, 18, 19, 20. So he had to go. That's why the federal government okay, we done seen this shit before. He got to go.
But they haven't though. And Rebecca, I disagree with you. But at this point, slightly, I'm gonna tell you why. They didn't want to see. He wasn't gonna be another Martin and Malcolm. They didn't want to see a bigger, stronger, more influential black leader come to power because he was gonna be bigger than Martin.
Facts, Sean.
And he was gonna be bigger than Malcolm, and he was gonna have the influence of Rainbow Coalition and add black gangs. Can you imagine that shit? You have a Rainbow Coalition and black gangs all following you, and whatever you say. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that shit? I mean, you got white people following you, black gangs following you, and you got foreign organizations following you.
Which is why Sean is right. Sean is right. What Merv just said was right.
That's why I leave that up there.
He wouldn't have made it. Which is why he wouldn't have made it that far. That was too much power. Too much power. They were shook to the motherfucker. It's
and Merv,
but sometimes you gotta be smart. You gotta know how to finagle through this shit to even get far, to even live long, to even try to do what Frank was trying to do. But you bold face like that, they take you out early.
But you know what? He wasn't. Hold on. He wasn't. I didn't see him as being bold faced.
Oh no. Okay. No, Merv, not bold face in a negative way, but he was direct. Ain't no gray with him. He was black and white, and he said what he said, and he showed passion with it. And he said he made everybody put their weapons down. He spoke. He got the gift of gab with his mouth. You understand? Yeah. But that was still too much. Like, you mad, and people hold on till this day, at any job, people don't like taking orders or directions from somebody that's younger than them. Okay, so it's like, who is this little, not only young but black person trying to run shit? Who is this? When we are 30, we the boys in blue.
That's what the fuck scared them, Tina. Like them, that's what the fuck scared them. Because you like, he got this much, he has this much influence, and this many people follow him, and this nigga's only 21. At 20, he got this much.
Yeah, he gotta go.
Motherfucking power. At 21,
and Merv,
to be at 35.
Merv, you got to look at this as well. Merv, you got to look at everybody has to look at this as well. Fred Hampton considered himself, kind of a revolutionary politician, because he said, with our political platform, could you imagine a rainbow coalition party? You see, the government likes the fact that there's only two options, really. The Democrats and the Republican, which both of them are fucked up. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But there's only two parties. So that's another reason why I think that Fred had to go, because when you got a rainbow coalition where you can pick off from both parties, the government as a whole, the people are actually in charge. If you got this rainbow coalition party that could come to prominence and like dominate the political scene, that's some shit that can bring the government to their knees. And they ain't really trying to have that. That's my take on that.
And that's equivalent to what he said. If the slaves and the overseers come together, they could cut the master's throat. So that's the black gangs, that's the Rainbow Coalition coming together. The government won't be able to handle that shit during that time. Hell no.
And that's my issue. Like, everybody learned this information and this structure from this young man. What happened? So they took him out, and that's it.
It wasn't that it. It wasn't that they just took him out. They had to take out the whole Black Panther. They dismantled the whole Black Panther organization. And you gotta understand, Fred Hampton had a great influence because he was up in Chicago. That's north. You got Chicago, you got Detroit, you got all these. You got a lot of black people, so that you could really start an uprising. So the Black Panthers was first started in Oakland. So, and like we said, Huey P. Newton was young. So, and that's the reason why.
So I got a question. Why are our people in the Black Panther basically diminished? I mean, they're still active, but not like they were. Not up in the up front, face forward.
They only
is still moving.
They only dismiss for one reason only. It's just because when you start a group like that, you really can create a big party against the government. So, and like what we were saying about the poor whites. Poor whites have militia groups all everywhere. Matter of fact, when you look at the Oklahoma bombing, all these different militia groups then and now, reason why they can always control them, because again, they just want to be better than the blacks ultimately, and they support white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why you can make a law like BIE, the Black Identity Extremists, and never say one for white, because they don't have to worry. They can always control. Like, yeah, you can storm the Capitol or whatever, but we already know what you want. So that's how they handle those. Us is different. They know that this is our land. We have a population increase. They have a population decrease. So they have to stop the rise of a Black Messiah, because they were scared. They were shook. So that's the reason why they dismantled. And when we talk about the movie, which that one part I did not like, when they was talking about comparing the Black Panthers to Ku Klux Klan, that argument, they use that a lot where white people try to justify. I even want to fact check the shootings that the Black Panthers, because to this day on record, there's no evidence of Black Panthers shooting anybody white. Now, even when it comes to cops, like I said, I got to fact check it because I don't know. But as far as my recollection, and all I know is it's never been any Black Panther shooting or killing a white person. Now, I can fact check it, but go ahead.
I'm glad that Ingrid brought up January the 6th, so we can talk about now, and it goes to what you said, Chris. There are lots of white militia groups out there. A lot of them were out there on the 6th. You got the Oath Keepers, you got the Proud Boys, you got the 3 Percenters. And as you can see, I was working. I worked from home. I was working, but on the 6th. I was watching, the insurrection take place. It's very important to call it insurrection, overthrow the government, sedition, whatever you want to call it. And it was just, as you was watching it, you were kind of like, man, they're like letting this happen. And it's like Chris said, it's because the crimes of, and I'm not just for our viewers, I'm not saying white people, I'm talking about white supremacists. There's clearly a difference between, I'm not generalizing white people, I'm talking about white supremacy and white supremacists. These white supremacists, these insurgents, these terrorists who stormed the Capitol were allowed to do that because I think that you still have a segment of our government that does not want to let go of this white supremacy power structure that's been built into the United States since its creation. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. This is why the former president of the United States got acquitted for insurrection of, not to get too political, but I got to mention this. That's why he just got acquitted for incitement of insurrection, trying to overthrow the United States government. It is because goes back to the politicians. I'm not losing my job. I'm not losing my power because I'm going against the white supremacy power structure in this nation. That's just fact. That's how I feel about it. I don't care if anybody's mad about that who's looking at it, but you got to look at this is how I'm looking at it through my lens. What are y'all thoughts? We talked about then. Now we're talking about now.
I just got a question. Like, would y'all be a part of the Black Panther Party today? I'm asking y'all each specifically. I'm asking the people in the audience. I know who y'all are, so please comment. Today, would y'all be a part of the Black Panther Party? Would y'all be ready to die for the people? And that's some real shit. And I will answer that question first. Yes. I always thought about it. I always loved their movement, what they did, everything. I know a lot of times that we as Black people take a lot of shit because we are scared and not ready to die. Because sometimes in order to make change, actually most of the time in order to make change, you have to die. Your ancestors did it. They made sacrifices and they gave their life to give us the life that we have now, even though racism is still here. It's just an individual question, and for the audience members, would y'all be ready to die today for your people?
Well, I'm not going to be the person of the moment and say I'm not going to be the person of the moment and say that I would. And that's simply because when you got people that you're responsible for and that you care about, when you got kids and you got a wife, it's just a little different. I'm gonna be totally honest. I mean, I'm not gonna jump up here and say, yeah, I'll be able to do all that. So I'm gonna just be. It's just so different when you have a lot of responsibility and things of that nature. Now, I would definitely support a movement like that. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, Stacks, just say you wouldn't do it because most of them niggas back then they had families too. It was just different mindset. I don't well joining Black Panther. I see myself joining Black Panther, and I was kind of with you until
No, she said willing to die for the cause.
Until you said ready to die. No, I'm not ready to die. For the cause because probably back, like in my opinion, the mindset
okay,
of Black
Becca.
was different.
Right.
Oh, I see the comment. Yeah, Rebecca.
Damn,
yeah.
she got me there.
Yep.
No,
I'm not saying that y'all actually putting yourself in a situation like to die, but being a part of the Black Panther Party, that it was a strong possibility that would happen. Would you do it today? That's what I'm saying.
For me, my answer. Oh, I'm sorry, Tina.
No, go ahead. It's a delay, so it's gonna come in late.
Oh no, I'm gonna be real quick and you finish up. For me, figuratively, I want to say yeah, but in reality, I would say no. Not because I'm not ready to or scared to die. I believe, and I agree with you, Tina. I feel like nowadays we are really scared to die. But the only reason why I wouldn't do it is because we don't need groups. Groups always get infiltrated. All our groups get infiltrated. Every single last one of them. When we gonna spy? I mean, we have Black Klansmen. We have stories of us spying in or whatever, but it's overwhelmingly like it's easy for them to make a snitch. It's easy, but it's so hard for us to say, "Hey, white person, you want to help the struggle? We don't need no money. We don't need it. Just tell us who the enemies are." That simple thing. It's hard. You can't get not even the liberal. And going back to the original question we had, we was talking about white supremacy with J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover is a prime example of what I'm talking about, right? Because we look at liberal whites as different from the conservative rights. J. Edgar Hoover was really, really liberal. Y'all don't understand that. What I mean by liberal is he was gay.
Damn.
Y'all didn't notice. See, it's a lot of things. J. Edgar
Yeah,
Hoover,
I knew that.
not it's the only reason why I'm bringing it's not because being gay is wrong. I'm bringing it in the context because this man was a killer. So when you look at a killer, you're not going to think of a gay person, right? J. Edgar Hoover was a cross dresser. He was a Caitlyn Jenner. He wore heels all the
Yeah.
time. And so, he wore a suit at work, but at night he putting on heels. And so, and he murked everybody in the 60s. He was coming too powerful. He was like Napoleon. He tapped everybody's phone, including presidents, like with Kennedy and stuff. So and what he did it in for everybody, you listen to the historians and the documentaries about him, you would think it's for himself, but it was all for white supremacy at the end of the day. So that's the reason why I support Tina's question. I'll say, yeah, figuratively, but we don't need these groups. All our groups get infiltrated. We can even put a decent church together, mega church together without it getting infiltrated. So until we get strong-minded people, because I still don't see white people snitch. White people don't snitch. They snitch on us. You know what I'm saying? But when the white person
Yeah.
snitch on each other, they handle theirs. We don't handle. Not, I'm not trying to say we gotta be gangster with, but what I mean by handle it, if you see how the politics go, that lets you can look and see how the white people handle each other. Look how Trump did the whole government. That was one white person checking other white folks to get them online with white supremacy. So that's what I meant. Like I wouldn't join the Black Panther, and they have a new Black Panther party, but it's more of a symbolic thing. You see what I'm saying? And like Ku Klux Klan ain't never dismantled. All they have to do is be like, hey, you call yourself skinheads, you call yourself Proud Boys, you know what I'm saying? So we got to be more strategic. And like I said, we don't have the mindset, the warrior mindset, like we once did.
Now, hey, Chris said something that me and Stacks have talked about several times, um, and he's right. And I think that's one of our issues. Like if like when he said black people snitch on each other, but white people don't. Like collectively, that statement is more true often than not. If a
Hmm.
white person fuck up or something going wrong, white people will just not say anything, as opposed to quickly to throw other white people under a bus. But we we will throw each other under the bus real quick. So that is something like, so I think that helps being able
Right, Becca.
to infiltrate the groups. Like how they was able to get Bill in. Um, so you got a point there. But let me ask you this, Chris, since
Hmm.
you brought this up. If you say we don't need groups because they're infiltrated,
Yeah.
do you have an alternate? Have you ever thought about an alternate? Like you said, since we can't do groups because they'll get infiltrated, as they've been historically. Have you ever thought of an alternate?
Like you mean like something comparative, something different, like comparative to the Black Panther Party, something
Well,
new.
no. Well, I'm kind of going off what Tina asked about us joining Black Panther for the betterment of Black people. like how it was back then. So you
Uh-huh.
saying, so based off what Tina asked, and you like, well, groups get infiltrated, so that's the bad thing about groups. So
Yeah.
if we don't do groups, there will be an alternate for the cause, for the betterment of Black people.
Oh man, that's so simple, man. It's just the code. It's just that we got to be on the same code. We do. Everybody has a code. It's just that like with us, they divide us, right? Like like again, we're a nation of Islam. We're Christian. We Democrat, Republicans, Black Republicans, conservative. We're technically all Black people conservative. But when it comes to a code, like look for example, like Asians. Asians do not vote in large numbers, right? Matter of fact, they less than 11, 13% of the population. We supposedly 11 or 13% of the population, right? But and we vote in record numbers. This past couple of elections, we
Action.
vote. Asian people do not vote
Word.
by large numbers. They do not vote at all. What they do is they collectively pull their money together and pay and pay for their about politicians, all that. We don't do that. Like for instance, when Obama ran, how much dollars did Obama get from black people? Now, black celebrities, but that was in the pile of money with Hollywood. When did all the barbershops in your neighborhood say, hey, let's all put a $10,000 check for Obama? We don't do that. Now, if Kevin Hart and Ellen DeGeneres say, hey, we put $1 million on whatever. Oh, that's just because they know investing in the I say Bahama. Investing in Obama, we know we're going to get that money back. You right? So what we have to do is we got to be on code with each other, right? We're totally off code. We too busy. We too emotional. Like I was telling our family when old buddy, I forgot his name, out of Atlanta, lost the race. He was the prosecutor to prosecute the cops that shot the black man at Wendy's. He was up for re-election. For all black people had one job, was to revote him in so we could lock the cops up. They voted him out because of some shady dealings he did in the past. Now, let's look at Trump, right? Because that's us being off code. White people are so uncold with each other, right?
Yes, they
Trump
are.
been shady for years. Shady for years. He's got mob ties, Russia. I think that's just disrespectful. Just the how he deals with that's just totally disrespectful. But white people know how to get on code with each other. They say, "Hey, we have him in there for a reason. He's gonna do that job. We're gonna back this guy." You see what I'm saying? They can
And
pull
that's
out
my thing,
now.
Chris.
Mm-hmm. You said, "What? That's your thing?"
That's my thing. Why? That's why we can't do that shit. We know this shit. We see that shit. Why we can't do that shit?
You
So
see
I
Sean,
don't
you
get
see
it.
Sean. I leave Sean comment up there for a reason.
we
I'm gonna tell
divide
you
up.
why. Because
Hey,
yeah,
yo,
real quick, Merv. You talking about groups. I agree. I agree with the groups thing ain't gonna work. You know why? Because black people are just so critical of each other, and you could be trying to be living righteous as a black person, but it's always going to be another black person. I'm talking about you woke motherfuckers out there, you hoteps out there, that you do everything in your fucking power to down to down the people that aren't your kind of black, and that's what's been killing us forever. Like, you got people out there that say you're stupid for voting. I don't know why you voting. You're just voting for the same master, this, that, or the third. Well, if I have my own reasons why I vote, I mean, if my ancestors died for my right to vote, and I want to exercise my rights because we didn't always have that right, who are you to tell me that I'm less black for participating in the political process? It's crazy to me.
so this goes back we all right. So I'm gonna say some shit, right? We still haven't gotten the slave mentality out of us.
Fact, Sean.
And when I say that, this this goes back to, I think somebody put up there earlier. Somebody put in the comments the Willie Lynch syndrome. Um, you have the complexion syndrome, the light skin versus dark skin. So
Colorisms.
you go all the way back to the slaves, where you have the house Negroes.
Hold on. Let's address this because they're saying that shit was never even real. So let's address this. Was that shit real? Was there really a Willie Lynch theory, or was there not?
I don't even know.
I think I know what Tina referred to. The Willie Lynch theory, yes, I believe is real, but I believe that it was just mainly a memo to other whites, because white people, uh, I need to say the people in dominant society, right? Because I don't want to say all white people, right? So people in the dominant society, the people that can control, was happen to be white. They always code each other. They cue each other in. We always the last one to look to know. But like for instance, I was educating some people about the Turner Diaries. This is a book that been out, and everything that's happening now with like how they did the AT&T building, Oklahoma building, COVID, all that is in the Turner Diaries. So, and this text was put out, so they know how to put out propaganda, because they know when they raise their kids up and they come adults, they know what to look for. We don't have that because we're not codified. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to write something, put in the book, in a movie, right, to get you. Now we have our own black nuances, right? Like we, for instance, we'll know like certain TV shows or certain things that's in the black community that mostly all black people will know about, that white people don't know about, right? So we do have our own nuances and stuff like that. But when it comes to having that one mindset, right? That what Sean said, we counsel all culture. Yes, that on that one mindset is what we're lacking.
It's
Right. So
I
that
mean,
was that was my friend Kai that put the shout out to Kai for putting that Willie Lynch theory up. But like,
so
I'm trying not to be emotional. I'm getting aggravated. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm getting aggravated because I feel like we as the people, we have everything right in our hands, and because we so
Mhm.
fucking ignorant, we're not even ignorant because we know the shit. Because we got so much hate against one another and pride, and I'm not sharing this, and I ain't doing shit. We selfish
but
than a
hold
motherfucker.
up.
We will never be
Well,
able to come together.
not
Ever.
only that, Tina, but Tana, we don't hold each other accountable either, though. I mean, there's one thing about diming out.
Nope.
There's a difference between diming out each other or just
Hold up.
telling
I
somebody,
feel
yo, that's fucked up. Don't do that.
well, no, I disagree with you, Stacks, because we definitely hold each other. We might not hold each other. Okay, we might not hold each other accountable to
No,
probably
Merv.
the way,
What we
the way
do
we
is
probably,
we point the
but
finger at each other.
exactly.
Fuck
So
that
that's
shit.
why,
That's all we do. We
yeah.
point the
So that
finger at each other all the time.
and
Instead of coming
that's
together as a
one
whole, that's all we do is point the finger at each other.
that's what I'm saying. So when I say accountable, like we will call each other the fuck out. All the guys, we can't wait for a black person to fuck up. And as soon as a black person fuck up, especially a celebrity, yo, we're going in on them. And we quick to say, well, right is right, wrong is wrong. When a white celebrity fuck up, you don't see white people talking about that shit at all. We do that shit. And reason why
We are
I was
harder on ourselves and our own people more than
any other
anything
race.
else. That shit
But
is
listen,
crazy.
it goes back to the slave days. Like all that shit as far as like the Willie Lynch, the light skin versus dark skin, the house nigga versus the field nigga. Back then, we was taught to survive. All right, as a slave, you was taught to survive. It's either tell on the person that just escaped, tell on a person that's plotting against us, or we're gonna pull this whip out and we're gonna whip you. If physical pain don't bother you, you got a daughter and a wife. We're going to sell them to another plantation if you don't tell us who escaped, who's plotting on us, or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. We still haven't gotten over the slave mentality because it started back then. All that damn back then we did that for survival.
Merv,
But
do y'all hear Merv right now? Do y'all hear Merv? Do you hear all the information he's saying? This is all of information we know. We know this shit. That's what's killing me. We know this shit and we still being ignorant at the same damn time.
it's
still
a
not ready to be like,
you're right, but
there's a
you're right.
Still not. That shit is crazy.
So Tina,
there's a clear difference.
It's a hold on, Stack. It's a mental thing. Like if that's why I said I think the Willie Lit shit is for real. Because if you got something that's still in you mentally over and over years and decades and then generations, and that's all you know, that's all you seen. You know, it's like hard to break a habit when you're 35 years old that you've been doing all your life. And even in the movie, when Fred said the memorandum of the protocol, how they got it set up is the masters got it where they can remove themselves and you still act like a slave. He said that in the movie when he was doing one of those speeches. He said the same thing we're talking about now. He said in the movie where they got it so set up where they can remove themselves and we'll still keep acting as a slave, moving the same way.
Yeah.
I think there's
Right.
a clear,
But
there's
here's the
there's
thing.
a
They're
clear
saying that
difference.
there's no letter. There was never a letter written. So who put that shit out there? If that shit is not real, all of a sudden after all these years, that shit is not real. There's no letter. Then what the fuck?
I think we got to recognize the difference between pointing the finger and holding ourselves to a high standard. Because some people just don't like to be told, "Hey, I need to pull you to the side," and it's not even airing you out; it's just pulling you to the side. Hey, man, that ain't the way to go about it. But
that's different. What you doing?
No, that's what I want to say. That's what I want to say. But what I'm saying is you got a lot of people that use that as a cop out. They'd be like, "Hey, you always pointing the finger or this, that, and the third." But we are better than that. If you feel as though I'm pointing the finger, I'm saying this simply because I think we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard than is what is expected of us from our oppressors. Like, oh yeah, they're gonna do that. Yeah, that's just now. But at the same time, we shouldn't give a fuck what they think. But we are so much better than the status quo.
Yeah.
So
Let me tell you something, Stacks. See,
it's about standards with me.
I don't want to go.
It's about standards.
Too far. I don't want to go too far.
The fuck
I know
you can.
Sean, if you jumped in right
It-
fucking
it-
now, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't want to go
It's
too
an
far.
answer.
I don't want to go too far, but Sean, you know the shit. As us as a people, when we talk about spirituality, when we talk about biblically, I don't want to go in too deep, but y'all know we was number one. Y'all know we as blacks was number one, right? Y'all know we failed, right? We failed twice. So it's like we're being punished for the shit that we were supposed to do when we was put as number one. I'm gonna leave it there because that's a whole nother avenue. But Sean and probably some other people know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I feel like we're being punished for that shit because we was given a chance twice. Because we was number one twice.
Tina, you can't say that without giving a little bit of elaboration because people that's watching is gonna be like, huh? So you gotta make it 3 minutes.
I don't want to go that far, but put it like this: we as black people, we were God's number one. We were His number one. He gave us 2 missions. We failed the first one. He gave us a second chance. We failed the second one, and now He picked another race to carry it on. It's like we as black people are being punished because we didn't carry on what He asked us to do. I don't want to go too deep, but it's deep. But that's what it is. And yeah, some people know what I'm talking about, some don't. I don't want to go that deep, but it is. Politicians and religion ain't supposed to get mixed in conversation.
And we can talk about that. And we're still struggling with that. to this day.
But what I give you is this. What I'll give you is this. As us as a people, we are, no matter what the fuck we go through, we are the only race that survive. We survive every fucking struggle that's getting thrown the fuck at us.
And the reason,
Okay?
and I can make this real quick too, to allude to what Tina is talking about. See, at one point in time, reason why we go so hard on each other, right? Because we are gods, right? You know how we'll run up quick on ourselves than any other race, right? Well, you gotta understand. On one point in time, the Earth was nothing but black people. It wasn't no other race on the planet. So when we have this in our DNA. This DNA is basically a memory code, right? So that's the reason why we deal with each other like that, because at one point in time we was only dealing with each other. Imagine if we have any races, we couldn't be like, oh, this is white people doing this, whatever, right? Now going back to what she was talking about, the second falling or whatever, right? This is more referred to mythology. So if you're not reversing to mythology and spirituality, it's gonna go over your head, right? But that's basically why we hear that we keep, it's the cycle she's probably referring to, why we keep going through this cycle. But now we're on the other end of the cycle now. So that's the reason why it's more chaotic. That's the reason why we have more crackheads. You know, we have crackheads in the community. You know, even though we know the government has did that, but think about a crackhead. A crackhead is still, he's such a god, right? He can do something so genius where white people be like, damn, that's genius. And it came out of the most ignorant, lowest of the lowest thing ever. That's why all creativity come out of black people, right? Because we so oppressed, right? So we always trying to change things. That's why we create hip hop and don't go back to it. We create jazz, don't go back to it. Funk, don't go back to it, right? That's why I like that Childish Gambino record, Redbone, because that's a funk record. You see what I'm saying? He recreated that funk record. That's the same sound Boosie Collins and them was doing, right? But that's what we do as people, because we are spiritual beings. We're just having a human experience. See what I'm saying? Other races of the world don't get to get that experience. That's why we get so many trials and turmoils, and they be like, dang, black people still having babies. You know what I'm saying? You know, we give them welfare, we kill them, they still having babies. I wouldn't bring no baby in this world if I got to get pulled over by the cop and he can die. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the spiritual side of everything coming, and that's why everything's happening in a loop like that.
And all of this talk is relevant because
Thank you, Chris.
the title of the movie is Judas and the Black Messiah. So even the talk that we have right now is still relevant to the damn movie. And
But Merv, some people with the shit I brought up and the way Chris broke it down, and it could be broken down way deeper. People ain't ready for that shit, my nigga. They not ready for that shit at all, bruh. At all.
Yeah, well, they watch our show. They don't know telling what kind of jokes going to drop. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they gotta
And
be
you know,
ready
like,
to watch the show.
oh, my fault. I've been trying. I don't know when to cue in. That's my fault.
Oh
But
nah. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying Judas and the Black Messiah, and you notice how they put Judas first. And if we look how they wrote the story, because a lot of people, and I was saying this too, a lot of people wouldn't like respecting the movie because they felt like it highlighted the snitch, which it kind of did. It kind of, even though they shared the same camera time, but the story went through the snitch versus through
Yep.
Fred Hampton, right? That's Judas.
From his angle.
Right. So it's Judah. So when you look at art, because art imitates reality, and this movie is art depicting something that happened real. Now you as the person, you got to decide: am I Judas or am I the Black Messiah? So that's how I take from this movie.
Well, you can go ahead and go, Merv. as far as
Mhm.
takeaways from the movie. Takeaways from the movie.
The shit. Takeaways from the movie. Man. Judas.
This is not.
Bill had me. Bill, man, Bill had me. I know y'all. I know Tina said she felt sorry for him, but like the character of Bill, man, that should have had me. I was disappointed. I was shitting at times, disappointed at times, and I was just like, damn, like this is about to be powerful. You know what I'm saying? Like that black movement, that it was about to be a powerful movement, and it was. I was shitting because it was us that killed this shit. It was like I was talking to someone about the movie, and they kind of brought up I don't know how we got on it, but it kind of brought up like, well, the devil is worse or what now. I'm like, I'm not sure if the devil is worse than Judas, because with the devil, he made it known what he wanted. He made it known that I want this. I'm going after it. I don't care if you like
What's the
it. But you know the devil is coming. You know the devil is
devil
coming.
in this case being the feds?
But Judas, yo, you can't see Judas. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who the fuck Judas is. So it's like, and you thinking somebody, you think you cool somebody, you think that's your brother, you think that's somebody that's gonna protect you life or death. Meanwhile, he's putting you in the worst situation to die, and you have no idea. You just giving yourself and just walking yourself into death, not even knowing because of somebody that you feel is a brother. And that shit that shit is scary, man. That's why, like, we joke about it, but when we like, yo, no new friends, yeah, the niggas I rock with will be the only from day one, or the only niggas that I'm trusting with anything on that kind of level. But I enjoyed the movie, man. Like, I watched the movie several times. Each time I watch, I got something different that I missed from it. Bill O'Neill, they played his ass off of the Bill O'Neill character, and Fred, man, Fred got so many quotables that could be quoted today with shit. Like I wrote down a couple of things, and I said a couple of quotables doing discussion, man. Look, I mean, I enjoyed the movie even though it had me shitting with the informant.
All right, Tina.
So yeah, I said I felt bad for O'Neal. And it's not because, oh, my heart goes out to O'Neal. I understand and I see a lot of people sell their soul. That's why I felt bad for him. He was put in a hard situation at a young age where your mind can still be manipulated, not knowing that he sold his soul. And there's consequences to your actions when you sell your soul. So even though I sat here and watched a 2-hour movie, you know what got me the most? The ending. When they show all the parts of the movies, all the parts that didn't hit the movies, when you have to actually pause the TV and read what the hell happened after the fact. He committed suicide. I felt it was coming. You think you're going to do this, take people's lives, do this all for the feds, this, and the third, and they doing it for the wrong reasons at that, because it's just a white or black thing, pigs against blacks, pigs against people that they just harming in general, Puerto Ricans, that, whites that are not privileged, this, and the third. You think you're going to do all that, own your own business, and live happily ever after? No. It's called selling your soul. It still happens today. It happens in the music industry. It happens in our community. Anything dealing with money, for the most part, you are selling your soul. We done seen people fall because they chose not to sell their soul. We done seen people allow family members to get sacrificed because they sold their soul. Okay, we know the shit. Me talking right now could get me in fucking trouble. You understand? We don't know who the hell is watching us right now. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be careful with what you say, but I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. He sold his soul. So when they put at the end or whatever that he committed suicide, I didn't feel bad. It was coming. It was coming. It's fucked up what happened to you. It's fucked up that it happened to you at a young age. It's fucked up that you didn't have the mindset or the guidance because you were so young and you was in these streets. It's fucked up. But there came a point where your guilt was hitting you and you knew right from wrong. It came a point where you knew right was wrong from you, where you knew right was from wrong, where you felt like this ain't right, but you were still scared. And you still chose to go wrong. And your convictions caught up to you. And you took your life. And it is what it is. You got what you got in the end.
My takeaways from the movie. Well, Chris, did you go yet?
No, I ain't go yet.
Yeah.
My bad, Chris, go ahead.
My last comment kind of sounded like I was wrapping up, probably. But I could make it quick, man. Judas and the Black Messiahs. I thought it was a great movie. Acting was on point. Daniel Kaluuya, I hope I say his name right, that played
Kaluuya.
Fred Hampton, right, did an awesome job. Lakeith Stanfield did an awesome job, even though I thought his eyes stayed watered the whole movie. Like, is he gonna cry? What is motherfucker gonna cry? Like, eyes just stayed watered, but nevertheless, Lakeith did his thing. Like again, I just say at the end, who are you? Are you the Judah or are you the Black Messiah? Just keep that in mind, and that's all I had to say.
My takeaways from this movie was I always like to learn new things. Should be learning more from books and stuff like that. But this movie gave me great pride, and it really taught me a lot. I mean, as far as what you just said, Chris, as far as are you going to be Judas or the Black Messiah? Now, nobody really is not going to know how they're going to react when they're facing the situation that Bill O'Neill was faced with. But throughout our conversations, I think I kind of sympathize with him a little bit, simply because I think there were clearly parts of the movie that he really believed in, the movement and being a Panther. But at the same time, it kept being thrown in his face that, hey, you're going to serve this time. Now, what I would have loved, I think TD might have mentioned this earlier, if he just fell on the sword and said, "Look, I'm an informant. Y'all gonna do what y'all gonna do to me, but I can't let you die." And that's what it's all about. Fred mentioned several times throughout this movie. It's almost like he already knew that he was going to die for the people. It's like he knew that shit, and he was willing to do that. It takes a lot of guts and courage. That's why I didn't want to cap on here and say, "Yeah, I'm down for the struggle. I do that shit right now."
Hey, Stat. He said that movie. It was like, I ain't gonna die from no car wreck. I ain't gonna die from no heart attack.
He knew, yeah.
Yeah, he did. He said that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel Kaluuya actually absolutely played the hell out of that role. And I just wish that people looked at this movie and learned a lot, and not only learned a lot, but they see the greatness that is in our people, even at that young of an age, and how that greatness was so powerful and was so inspirational to the masses that it had to be neutralized. That's the word that the federal government actually used. Like, they couldn't have that. That guy, Fred Hampton, he had the ability to literally end the struggle, end poverty. He was all about the people. I mean, people look at the Panthers and they say this, that, and the third. They're violent. And so the Panthers did patrols in communities, making sure that our people were taken care of and not getting brutalized by the police. They had food programs. They had transportation services. They had health clinics, and they taught classes and stuff like that. That ain't no threat to national security. That's a gift to the nation. And that's all I got, because I can go all night, but that's all I got.
Hey,
what you got, Merv?
I just got this last quote that I think is a good ending quote by Fred Hampton in the movie. He said, "You can murder the liberator, but can't kill liberation. You can murder the revolutionary, but can't kill revolution. And you can murder the freedom fighter, but you can't kill freedom."
That's real talk.
I just want to say this too. I want to say this too. We already 2 hours in, just like the movie, right? Mm-hmm. And we still probably ain't covered like 45 minutes into the fucking movie. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
But we did good. There's a lot more we could talk about. Shit, if we want to carry on, we could talk about that shit.
Yeah, I could do this for like 4 more hours.
But
it really is.
Right. There are parts, even the title alone, that's biblical. That's a whole, like I said, we touched on it a little bit.
And I touched on a little bit.
That's a whole nother topic, bro. That's a whole nother topic. That's real deep. That's real intense. I mean, if y'all want to do this shit, we could pick back up on it another time. But it's that title definitely brings in biblical. And that's kind of scary to touch on. It's kind of scary because a lot of folks ain't ready for shit.
The thing
like
about
that.
this movie, the script, the title, everything, the whole thing is deeply symbolical.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud of y'all. I love y'all. I love my brothers. Stats,
I love you back.
Merv. Yo, Mo Chris, what's up?
What up?
Like, this movie was deep, bruh. This movie was deep. And I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud that y'all even wanted to go with this. Like, I don't give a fuck if nobody want to listen. I don't give a fuck. We did this shit. This shit is in our hearts. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what's up. And I'm proud of y'all.
Absolutely.
And stay blessed, comrades. Hey, mess around. I'm gonna start calling everybody comrades out this bitch. I watched this shit like 6 times. I'm probably gonna watch it again after we get off, man. I loved it. But good show tonight, y'all. Mo Chris, you family, man. You come on here anytime, man. We appreciate having you tonight, man. Good show. Shout out to Marc and Sean. They did the vibes last night. Shout out to YouTube. What's up, Merv?
Hey, real quick, since everybody on here, I think everybody that has selection. Yeah, any suggestions for the movie for next week? Y'all will make a group decision.
Hold on. While we giving out shout outs, I want to shout out. Y'all already said the guys. Sean was in the audience. My friend, my BFF, Kai was in the audience. Ingrid,
what up, Kai?
Love you, boo.
Shout out to Kai.
Becca, you my heart, motherfucker.
Shout out to Cuzzo. Come through.
Like, I love everybody that was in the comments tonight, yo. Love y'all. For real. Don't listen, nigga.
Hey,
leave alone.
Hey, Tina, and before we go off, I want to celebrate you individually, your spirit, and what you have brought to us, the guys, and this
Absolutely.
And all this, it's been absolutely amazing. I just want you to know that.
Where she started at? We need to let everybody know where she started at. Here.
I started right here at the Merv section. I don't care if you cry. We got nothing but love for you. I don't know if y'all know this, but Tina has done so much stuff behind the scenes for all the shows that we do, and nobody and nobody asked her to do it. It's just all voluntary. She goes hard for us in the paint at all opportunities. And you are a damn blessing. I want you. I'm giving you because we got to give people their flowers while they're living. I'm giving you your flowers, sis, and I love you. We all love you. You need to know that, and you can shed them tears. I know you didn't know it was coming, but
Stack. You all right? She done heard you, man. Shut the fuck up. She already crying. Drink up, motherfucker. Hey, let's drink.
Okay. Well, and I'm gonna end it off right there. But it's all no cap. You already what? Salute.
We gonna decide the movie later or the night later. All right.
We gonna decide the movie later. Hey, salute, y'all. Hey, and we gonna hey, real quick. Y'all know we're gonna be right back tomorrow. The guys. When we form like the Four Horsemen, we're gonna be right back at y'all tomorrow. And we got Merv, what we talking about tomorrow before we get off?
We talking about goddamn me and Tina shit tomorrow is we're gonna do a Valentine's Day recap, and we're talking about affection versus emotions.
Sean, stop it, bro. Everybody. Sean got the bag, y'all. Sean, I don't know. I don't want to insinuate money. Activity. Sean got the bag, man. Hey, let me quit, man, for somebody robbing, man. Queen, the bridge is over. Just want to put that out there. But yeah, we gonna be right back at y'all tomorrow at 8:00. Hey, good show, y'all. We gonna go ahead and roll up out of here. Salute to all my peoples. Hey, y'all. Hold it down. We see y'all next week, and we see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all, Tina.
All right, love y'all.
Yep. Love y'all, niggas.
Peace.
And Tina's a nigga.